It's also WFMD in Frederick, Maryland, 9:30 on the AM dial. Welcome to the program, serving into portions of Baltimore and Washington, D.C. and so forth. And WTAD AM in Quincy, Illinois. Welcome, WTAD. Good to have you along. Now, what to begin with? Well, first of all, the secular news of the day. Quebec is not going to do it. The final vote was awfully close. It was a Canadian hair. The yeses take it, did not take it, and missed it by about 7/10, I guess you'd say, of 8%. The yes votes were 49.4, the no votes 50.6, so Quebec, Canada will stay together, and I must say that I'm happy for them, those that are happy. I'm happy for you. Splitting up any country is not too cool an idea. A person that I have had, and for all the new listeners out there, it's just impossible to explain my program. We do all kinds of unusual things all the time. And I never know from night to night what we're going to do. I will tell you this. We don't screen calls. I have no call screener. Don't want one. Don't have any need for one. I've been doing the program this way for about 11 years. By the way, the affiliate count now is 230 affiliates nationwide. So I never know what's going to happen. I do the program actually 5 hours per night. And if I had to come down here and do a Rush Limbaugh, and I like Rush, but I don't do what he does. If I had to do that, I would absolutely go crackers. God, I can't believe it. My wife has candles all over my room. I am appropriately decorated for Halloween, and I don't know where she found it, but she found, it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. She brought me this candle that is burning in here, and it is a hand. 5 fingers. A hand and 5 fingers. And as the candle burns, blood runs, or red wax, I guess, but what sure does look like blood, runs down individually from each finger, staining the hand with blood as it drips. God, what a weird candle. And from here in rural Nevada as well, I don't know where you would find such a thing. But it is here. And the room is scattered with burning candles. My picture of Shannon Dougherty has been desecrated. It says, "I want your soul," with an S and a circle around it. Then there's a pumpkin sitting here. So I'm appropriately outfitted for Halloween. Something a little sobering for you before we begin Ghost to Ghost. People are saying, what's Ghost to Ghost? You're about to find out. We have had a man, a good friend of mine, is a man named Gordon Michael Scallion. He is, in my opinion, if there is such a real thing as a prophet or a visionary, Gordon Michael Scallion is the modern-day Edgar Cayce, no question about it. Aside from a fax, which I got from him recently, saying, "Art, look, no change. I'd come on the program, but no change in my predictions." Many of you may recall his last words to us were, "Whatever you do, watch Vesuvius and Etna." I wonder if any of you recall that. Watch Vesuvius and Etna. Gordon Michael Scallion is predicting earth changes that would make what we're going to do this morning seem like kid stuff. Well, my jaw hit my chest when I watched CBS Sunday Night News. Mount Vesuvius in Italy. There has been not much since 1944, where 50 died in a very minor explosion. Before that, 79 AD in Pompeii. 25,000 people dead. CBS said Vesuvius may be about to go up again. Experts are saying a series of quakes may be signaling a new major eruption. There is a voluntary evacuation called for, but where 25,000 in Pompeii lived within striking distance of Pompeii, there are now 500,000, and they're not going to leave. Scallion said, watch Vesuvius and Etna, and I just sat there. I couldn't believe it. I actually woke my wife up. I said, you've got to see this report. Richard in East Central California simply sent a fax saying Vesuvius is going to blow. They're encouraging voluntary evacuation. I'm moving inland. Could I interest you in some California land? No. Small earthquake in Alaska over the weekend. 4.8, something like that. Nothing too serious. They have turned on Beta, the billion-channel extraterrestrial array. It is to look for aliens, to look for others anywhere out there, a major effort to find out if anybody is out there. Outside Boston, there is an 84-foot radio telescope. It is big. It's got new electronics. It is the private sector version, if you will, of SETI. SETI, as you know, has been defunded, but this one just turned on. There are, it is estimated, 100 million planets in our galaxy that may in all probability contain intelligent life. I said 100 million that may contain intelligent life. Scientists say it is not a matter of if we find them, but when. And so they are hoping that we will get a signal, and they are confident that we will. Also, over the weekend, Wright-Patterson, as you know, Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, is a very, very unlikely place for Middle East peace talks. Very unlikely. And yet they are going to be held there, according to CBS News Sunday, in the strictest security. And then, of course, if all goes well or badly, depending on your point of view, we get to send 20 or 25,000 men into an area where there are at least 100,000 land mines waiting to take their limbs. One more item. I call it, you will hear the phrase used on this program. I call it the quickening. I've been doing talk radio now for this show, actually, for 11 years, talk radio longer than that. And whether you're talking about social, economic, political matters, it doesn't matter. In every area of life all around the world, things are beginning to occur at a faster pace. Now, I am not a Bible thumper, nor do I say we are headed toward some religious manifestation or change. I don't say that. I'm just telling you, as a talk host, I'm watching very carefully, and to me it is more than obvious that we are headed towards something big. Some big change, some big something. I don't know. I'm just a talk host. I'm telling you, I call it the quickening. And to add to it, there is a mystery epidemic sweeping northwestern Nicaragua. It has now infected thousands of people, killing 12 so far. Doctors unable to stop it. Clinics in a town of 13,000 say they have been deluged by patients from rural areas complaining of bleeding of the nose, gums, headaches, body aches, severe fatigue. In dramatic form, patients have come in and collapsed in the unit. One doctor told Reuters, all we can do is halfway stabilize them and send them off to Lyon. They only go to die there. So we have got another one, ladies and gentlemen, a new mysterious disease of some kind. We don't know what it is, but we do know that it is. All right, in a moment, we are going to start down a very different path. Interesting as all of that news may be, there will be lots of airtime in the next several days to talk about it. Because this morning, we are going to, I don't know if the word is celebrate, but we are going to, what is the word? We are going to make significant note of Halloween, and we are going to do it in a serious way. And before I even begin, I want to lay down a few ground rules. Number one, no jokes. I'm only interested in serious, and I mean serious and true, ghost stories. There are plenty of them. Is there life after death? It is probably one of the biggest questions troubling mankind, has been since probably we've been walking around thinking about stuff like this. Well, one sure way, one possible way, I guess I ought to say, to determine if there is life, a spirit that exists beyond the one we have with the physical body, that increasingly burdens us as we travel down life's long-toothed highway. If there is some spirit that lives beyond the body, one way and one area of exploration is obviously the spirit world. It's been quite some time now, but on this very day, across much of America, back, I believe, in 1926, Harry Houdini died. Why do you suppose he died on Halloween? Just coincidence? Perhaps. At any rate, back to my ground rules. I want only serious stories, ghost stories of one sort or another. And that's what we're going to do all night long. Now, the audience had a big talk about it last week. Now, obviously, when I come on the air tomorrow night in this time zone, it still will be Halloween. So we will do tonight in totality. Tomorrow night will be partial, depending on how it goes. But on this program, we celebrate. We note profoundly this day. Celebrate is the wrong word. So, in a moment, a couple of stories to prep you for what's coming. We all know the secret of making money is timing. Now is a good time to invest some money in what could be, in my opinion, this next century's best investment, telecommunications. It's going up everywhere. Microtech is not a licensed lottery company. What they're doing is building actual facilities across the country, stuff that will allow, trucking companies to talk to their trucks, that sort of thing. And they say that for $7,700 invested now, a minimum, you could get back $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or more, plus a yearly income for the rest of your life that, yes, can be applied to your IRA or retirement plan. Now, we would be more than happy to send you complete details and a free video cassette. All you need do is call. Here's the number. Do it. Remember, it is a free call, a free video cassette. You've got nothing to lose. The number is 1-800-444-1049. That's 1-800-444-1049. Are you tired of struggling just to get by financially? Let's not even talk about retirement. This job you've got doesn't pay what you're worth anyway. So how do we learn to take charge of our lives? Well, are you ready for this? The answer is in commodities. I know. You usually hear commodities are nothing but a big gamble, and there's a lot more to it than that, according to financial expert Ken Roberts. Ken does something very unique. He takes you step by step and teaches you how to invest in commodities without being dependent on a broker for advice. It's a business enabling thousands of average Americans to be their own boss and make money. So, whether you want to work for yourself or make extra income, do yourself a favor. Call 1-800-GOLD-KRC for a free money kit and audio tape that explains it all. Then you decide if you want to learn how to trade with absolute minimum risk. Remember, the information is free. Call 1-800-GOLD-KRC. That's 1-800-GOLD-KRC. All right, here is a true but bizarre story. Now, this is still not yet quite Halloween fodder, but I wanted you to hear it. On March 23rd, 1994, the medical examiner viewed the body of Ronald Opus and concluded that he died from a shotgun wound of the head. Not unusual yet in our society. The descendant had jumped from the top of a 10-story building intending to commit suicide. He left a note to that effect indicating his despondency. As he fell past the 9th floor, his life was interrupted by a shotgun blast through a window, which killed him instantly. Bear in mind, the fellow had jumped out of a very high floor, but as he came by floor number 9, his head literally was blown off by a shotgun. Neither the shooter nor the decedent was aware that a safety net had been erected at the 8th floor level to protect some window washers, and that Opus would not have been able to complete his suicide anyway because of that. Strange. Ordinarily, Dr. Mills continued, quote, a person who sets out to commit suicide ultimately succeeds, even through the mechanism, even though it might not be what he really intended. That Opus was shot on the way to certain death 9 stories below probably would not have changed his mode of death from suicide to homicide, but the fact that his suicidal intent would not have been successful caused the medical examiner to feel that he had homicide on his hands. The room on the 9th floor where the shotgun blast emanated was occupied by an elderly man and his wife. Get this, they were arguing, and he was threatening her with the shotgun. He was so upset that when he pulled the trigger, he completely missed his wife, and the pellets went through the window, hitting Opus, who was on the way to what he thought was his death anyway. When one intends to kill subject A but kills subject B in the attempt, one is guilty of the murder of subject B. When confronted with this charge, the old man and his wife were both adamant that neither one of them knew the shotgun was loaded. The old man said it had been his long-standing habit to threaten his wife with an unloaded shotgun. He had no intention to murder her. Therefore, the killing of Opus appears to be an accident. That is to say, the gun had been accidentally loaded. The continuing investigation, get this, turned up a witness who saw the old couple's son loading the shotgun about 6 weeks prior to the fatal incident. It transpired that the old lady had cut off her son's financial support, and the son, knowing the propensity of his father to use the shotgun in a threatening way, loaded the gun with the expectation that his father would shoot his mother. The case now becomes one of murder on the part of the son for the death of Ronald Opus. Can you believe it? There was an exquisite twist. Further investigation revealed that the son, Ronald Opus, had become increasingly despondent over the failure of his attempt to engineer his own mother's murder. This is what led him to jump off the 10-story building on March 23rd, only to be killed by a shotgun blast through a 9th-story window. The medical examiner closed the case as that of a suicide. So, there you got it. The weirdest but true story I could possibly have found for you to kick off Halloween 1995. That one is weird, but it is true. And maybe it's true that there is sometimes a very immediate kind of justice for those who would do evil. All right, prepare yourselves. It's coming. Ghost to Ghost AM is next. Go. Here's one. I've got a whole group of stories for you, which have come from all of you. And I've simply chosen some of them to kick off everything. Art, my first experience occurred in the early 70s. I was doing some college radio on WPKN-FM in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now, alone, that's pretty spooky. There was a legend in the town of Easton nearby about a swamp monster, a Sasquatch type of creature. We decided to do a Halloween special, In Search of the Easton Monster, so we wanted it to be a serious program. We researched past sightings, interviewed locals, even procured volunteers from the community to go along with us to verify our findings, or lack thereof. The night of the expedition finally arrived. We loaded up 3 cars with personnel, audio, camera equipment, took off to the side of a reservoir where sightings had been recorded. All 3 cars pulled off to a small clearing between the roads and the reservoir. We turned off the engines, sat there in the darkness, waiting, audio recorders rolling, cameras ready to shoot. Not a person spoke. Suddenly, at the exact same moment, in all 3 cars, verified later, by listening to the tapes, at least one person in each car yelled, "Let's get the hell out of here." There was no communication between the cars. We all quickly drove back to the radio station, nobody speaking a word en route. When we got there, our producer had the foresight to suggest that no one say anything, but simply take a piece of paper and write down what had scared us. When we compared notes, we all had written the same thing. We had seen the figure of a woman around 30 with long flowing hair and a long white gown floating down the center of the road. She was transparent. As we were not looking for a ghost, this could hardly be considered group hypnosis. We had been looking for a Sasquatch, needless to say. We were all terribly unnerved and immediately canceled the special, telling our audience there had been technical difficulties. That is from Steve Fisher in Bellevue, Washington. And it is but one of several broadcast-related stories of this sort that I have for you this morning. I'm telling you right now, there are things that we do not understand, and there are many people out there that put them off as this or that. I am not one of those people. To sort of set the mood for you, I am not going to be fooling around with weird little sound effects and that sort of thing through the night, because I think that takes away from the reality of what we're going to do. You know, I'm not going to make a joke out of it, but I do have a couple of sound effects collected over the last couple of weeks that I may use. The first I'm going to let you hear is, remember, there's a lot of new listeners out there. I do a show on Sunday called Dreamland that deals with this kind of material all the time. Linda Howe, widely reputed to be the world's, I say expert, she doesn't like that term, investigator, she is a journalist, who looks into crop circles, animal mutilations, and Sasquatch of late, sent to me a tape of a sound of what is said to be Bigfoot. And try and imagine yourself out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. Brace yourself. If you've got a cat on your lap, get it off now. I'm telling you. This is the sound sent to me by Linda Howe. The sound of Sasquatch. Now, how'd you like to hear that sound out in the middle of the night somewhere, So if I use any sound effects, it'll be this and one other. And that's it. And that's because they are said to be the real thing, which is what I want from you this morning. The real thing. If you've got a ghost story and you can tell it well, then I encourage you to pick up the telephone, and I guess I better cover the phone business right now, and then we'll go to the lines. All right? Here it is. If you have never called this program before, feel free to call our first-time caller line. It is area code 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Or you may wish instead to try what we call the wild card lines, area code 702-727-1295. 702-727-1295. Toll free from west of the Rockies, anywhere west of the Rockies, it's 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-8255. East of the Rockies, anywhere east of the Rockies, toll free, it's 1-800-825-5033. 1-800-825-5033. Now, here's the trick. Let them ring until they're answered. If you have not been picked up, they'll cut you off. The phone company does that. We don't. Pick it up, redial, try again. Persistence is power, and eventually you will get through. So let us begin. The night is yours. Ghost to Ghost AM is on the air. And you will be the first caller. First-time callers, area 702-727-1222. We don't take last names on the air.
Okay.
So we didn't get started very well there because I had to bleep that out. So let us begin all over again. Just give us your first name only.
Okay, this is Jeff.
And where are you, Jeff?
I'm in Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, California.
Hello, I'm glad to start off as your first caller. I'm pretty lucky. Probably the best guy to start off. I work at a radio station.
Oh.
And it broadcasts your show.
You mean you work at one of my affiliates?
Yeah, over at KSMA.
In Santa Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you presently on duty?
No, I'm in my room.
I see. All right.
My dad and my sister are listening. They both work there, too. And we have a ghost in our studios over at the...
Over at KSMA?
Yeah. The way it goes is a guy that used to work there.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very nervous.
Just relax. No, I had never heard this, and since you're one of my affiliates, gee, I'm surprised. Had you thought maybe they don't want this out?
No, I asked my dad, really, and at first, my sister said that maybe he wouldn't let us to know about this stuff, but he said it was okay.
All right.
And anyway, this guy, he was working on the AM side, and he was doing a game, a baseball game or something.
Mm.
And my sister, she works over on the AM, and she does games every once in a while, but I usually work on the FM side.
Right.
And she has had occurrences happening there. I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was working a game, and the guy on the FM side comes out, and he sees this guy lying on the floor. And he called up my dad and said...
Is your dad the manager or program director or something?
He's operations manager.
I see.
And he called him and he said, Jeff, his name, I think you better get over here. This guy is on the floor and I think he's dead.
Bad news,
so, yeah.
I wouldn't like that myself.
My dad got over there, and by the time he was over there, paramedics were there working on him and everything. And so he eventually died, and they said it was of a heart attack.
Yes.
And this is in the middle of the game.
Yes.
And so the guy that found him, one night, he goes through the hall. There's a long hall that stretches about 50 feet. He checks it for boxes and stuff, anything that might be in the way that you might trip on.
Well, sure.
And he turns out the lights, and he's going down there later, and he stumbles and falls. And he turns on the lights, there's nothing there. And it was right next to the AM room, I suppose. And anyway, later on...
Let me guess. He stumbled over the body.
I don't know, but it was supposedly where he had found him.
Where the body had been found.
Nothing was there when he turned on the lights.
Well, Jeff, thank you for the story. That's not unusual, and it's a great way to set everything up. I am glad that you were here first. You see, this is the essence, I believe, and I've interviewed many people on Dreamland, this program, and others, experts in this area. And don't ask me because, again, I'm just a talk host. But when people die suddenly, painfully, sometimes murdered, sometimes with drastically unfinished business, unrequited love, whatever it might be, for some reason the spirit seems to linger. And that's 2 radio station stories in a row. I don't know if I like that. But it's the truth. Now, at one point during a Jeff's call, you could hear a little sound, a little hum. That's because I didn't even need to ask him. He was obviously on a portable telephone. Now, the average portable telephone does that. It hums, clicks, buzzes, makes noise, is annoying, frankly. Pieces of junk, 49 megahertz phones. Well, there's something new under the sun. It is the new Tropez 900 NDL. It does not buzz, like you heard, or click, or disconnect you. I'm able to stand 1 mile away from my base unit and talk back. And unless there's wind outside, the person on the other end doesn't even know I'm not standing right next to the base unit. Plus, it is private. Nobody can hear it on a scanner. It is not cheap. Most good things are not. But we've got the best price in town, $179.95. It is totally digital. In other words, breaks your voice, and that'll call her down into little individual yeses and nos, transmits them and assembles them, reassembles them on the other side, much like the Star Trek transporter. Do you want one? Call Bob Crane in the morning, if you would, please, at 1-800-522-8863. That's 1-800-522-8863. Now GMX, magnetic water conditioning. Nigh on to a couple years ago, they came and put it in my home. And they did not charge me, and it is well they did not, because I would not have paid, because I didn't believe it. And you know, I'd been through the salt route and all the rest of it. I've got well water out here in the desert. And it's good water, mind you, but it has minerals, scaling, build up in the pipes. You know, when you wash your car, do you get little white spots? Go look at your shower head. Is it all clogged up with white stuff? That is scaling. If you don't want it, you need GMX. But why should you take my word for it? Because for the average home, it costs about $600. That's a lot of money. But it's a one-time expense. No machine, no moving parts, just magnetics. Now, I know you say, well, I don't believe it. Okay, fine. You've got an unconditional 90-day money-back guarantee and a lifetime warranty. Why not? There's no moving parts. It'll just keep. You can install it in about 10 minutes, or you can de-install it in about 10 minutes. In other words, if you move, you take your good conditioned water with you. Now, they're celebrating the second year on my program, and they will give you, with your order, a copy of my book, second printing. The number to call, as soon as it is available, the number to call now is 1-800-4060-GMX. That's 1-800-4060-GMX. All right, east of the Rockies, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hi, how are you, Art?
Fine.
Can I go ahead and, tell you,
Well, of course, where are you?
I'm actually in Reno, listening on KOH.
Well, actually, then you're on the wrong line.
Oh, am I?
This is east of the Rockies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The number you want to call is 1-800-618-8255.
Hold on, I don't even have a pen.
Well, that's the number.
Right.
So thank you very much for the call, and I'll repeat it again. 1-800-618-8255, west of the Rockies. East of the Rockies, it's 1-800-825-5033. Again, east, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, sir. This is Tony from Pueblo. Listen to you on KCSJ.
Pueblo, Colorado. Fine. Yes, welcome to the program.
Story I have, it actually happened the summer of 1986, right before I went into the service.
Yes, sir.
I'm originally from North Carolina, and
I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, just a little bit of an accent.
Yeah.
The part of the country I'm from is known very well for its ghost stories and UFO sightings and things of that nature.
Uh-huh.
On this particular night, me and a couple of my high school buddies decided we were going to go to this place that was reputed to be a haunted house. We went up there and went inside and was messing around, just goofing off, doing typical high school guy things.
You need not describe them, I recall.
So we went ahead, got pretty bored with that, didn't see anything interesting, so we decided to leave. Well, the house was located out in the country, I guess about 6 or 7 miles from the town I lived in. Mm-hmm. And we started back into town, and there's a long stretch of road called Piper's Gap Road in that area.
Okay.
We started down the road, and it just got real foggy, just like it just sat down, and it's real humid back there, so I figured it was just one of them typical things, it got a little bit cooler, clouds came down.
And it just lays down, yeah.
And it just laid down on the road.
Sure.
Well, while we're going down through there, got to going and talking about people that pick up hitchhikers, and the next thing you know, they'll turn over, be talking to them, turn around, and they won't be there in the car.
Many stories like that.
So we're going down the road, and we come up to, I wouldn't say a fork in the road, I'd say an intersection where another road connected with the road we were on.
Yes.
As we approach it, we can just make out a person standing right on the side of the road, right at where the road connects.
A hitchhiker.
And he's got his thumb out.
Naturally.
Well, we're talking to each other, and I said, why don't we just stop and pick the guy up? And they're like, no, man, don't do it, because we've just been talking about picking up hitchhikers.
That's right.
So I said, no, we're going to go ahead and do it. And I was driving. So I pull the car over. The guy sitting beside me in the passenger seat rolls down the window, leans out and asks the guy if he needs a ride. Well, he just automatically turned back to me, and, his face was just ashen. It just went pale. And I leaned down and looked out the passenger window, and he had already asked him if he had wanted a ride. I looked at the guy. The guy was as white as a sheet, and he was still looking down the road in the direction that we had came from.
Huh.
And he didn't move, didn't make any sign that he even knew we were there. And the next thing I done was hit the gas and got out of there as fast as I could. And that was, 9 years ago, and it still to this day I think about it, and it kind of gives me the shivers.
And what is it that you think you saw? Well, what was he?
You know, I don't know, because I'd never seen him before, and I come from a pretty small town, and you know, it was I guess it was a ghost. I mean, that's the only thing I can attribute it to. It was a ghost. It was an apparition.
An apparition. I appreciate the call, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. There you are. An apparition. Many stories presently circulating on the west coast of the country about hitchhikers getting into cars, talking about Gabriel's horns about to blow. Kind of like Vesuvius, huh? Or maybe in concert with. And then suddenly disappearing. Many, many such stories. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. Where are you?
I'm in Detroit.
Detroit. Our first Detroit caller.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome you to Detroit.
Well, I thank you very much. We're very happy to be there.
Oh,
You will find this to be a pretty weird show.
well,
But it's an acquired taste. Given a little time, you'll learn to like it.
well, you've been recommended, and the only thing I've heard about you is that you're very cerebral.
Well, I'll take judgment on that after you've listened for about a week.
Okay. Is it 2 o'clock Eastern time? No, I don't know if you're on tape delay
Well,
or...
no, it's coming up on midnight, the actual beginning of Halloween where I am, so I'm on Pacific time, and I believe in Detroit, even though it doesn't seem like you guys ought to be, you're on Eastern time, right?
Oh, you got it.
So it's coming up on 3 o'clock in the morning there.
Yep.
Yikes.
Well, I've been known to stay up and talk with our late night hosts, and they've just been the 38 states, the great voices, the Great Lakes. But
That's what I've heard. The WJR covers 38 states. That's remarkable.
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely remarkable. And if I think about it, it's a funny thing, sir. I've been on network now doing network shows for several years, and yet every time a new station, a big one, joins, I still get nervous, like right now. Listen, I'm coming up on a break, and so what I would like to do, it's our nickel, we will hold you over and bring you back after the news, all right?
Sounds good.
Now, you're not going to hear anything. Don't let it bother you. We'll be right back. This is CBC.